welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. I am Ben Tuinang, one of your co-hosts of this podcast, dedicated to helping practices that are tangled up with insurance. We talk about topics that help you take more control and create a bigger and better future for you, your patients, and of course, your team members. Today, our guest is Naren. Naren, great to be with you today, my friend.
I'm really excited to be here, Ben and Jordan. Thank you for this opportunity.
Awesome, absolutely. Well, we are excited to talk to you today about the dental buyer's journey, or the journey that buyers, patients take within dentistry. So we look forward to kind of asking you a few questions about this, and excited to hear your responses.
Yeah, baby. Let's get started.
Yeah.
First question.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to say that I'm here with Jordan. He's my co-host. So
Whatever.
I didn't need to ignore you there.
I'm here. No, you're good. It's not a big deal. People have, if you're a regular listener, you probably know that there's three of us.
Yeah.
The three amigos.
The three amigos.
There you go.
Awesome. First question for you, Naren. What is the dental buyer's journey, and how do dental consumers buy today?
That's a great question. I think that's a great place to start, Jordan. Thank you for that question. Dental buyer's journey kind of describes, in a nutshell, the process that most people go through when they decide or when they find and then choose a dentist. They might be finding and choosing a dentist for something very specific. Like, for example, I have teenagers, and of course, they need braces. So even though we might have a general dentist, we might still go through the dental buyer's journey in making that decision. Do they need braces? If so, what type of braces? And then C, who is the best person to help them with those braces? And we live in a world where we feel like specialists are better than generalists. So, for example, you want to redo your kitchen. You don't hire a general contractor. You typically look for people who really are good at kitchens, right? And specifically the type of kitchens you are looking for. And I can use that example in everything else too, like food, right? I remember 30 years ago, when we think of sushi, there's pretty much one type of sushi place. But today there are so many kinds of sushi places. So we don't go to a sushi place. We go to the kind of sushi place we fancy that day, whether it's flame sushi or South American sushi or you name it, right? So we are looking for very specific things. So dental buyers are no different. So they are looking for what they are looking for. And that entire process is called dental buyer's journey. At a high level, the way the dental buyers buy today is 92% of them start with a Google search. Why? Because Google has become the answer engine, right? Anytime we have a question on anything, we just Google it. It's used 8.7 billion times a day, literally multiple times a day. Each and every one of us is using Google to find an answer for whatever we need. So that's where we start. And then the Google search helps us do two things. One is it educates us. Like, for example, in that example I gave you about braces, it helps us figure out, is braces right for my daughter? And if so, what option perhaps should I lean on or would make the most sense? And then it also helps me learn about the people who can help me with that. So who are the dentists? I'm learning about the dentist who is really good at it and so forth. And then finally, I'm picking, I know more than I did before I started this journey, and I know more about which dentist I should be talking to. And then more than likely, I'm going to call one of those dentists. And if everything goes well, I'm going to go see them. And if everything goes well, then that is a dentist who's going to do my daughter's braces. So that's typically a simple way to think about, dental buyer's journey.
That's awesome, Aaron. So you said step one for a consumer is a Google search, where that particular person types a keyword like dentist near me or veneers 60616, with that being, of course, the zip code. 92% of people start with a Google search. So if I'm a practice owner and I understand that 92% trend that people are using Google, what should my goal be to take advantage of that particular trend?
Absolutely. Google made $224 billion last year, and they made it just from ads, right? Google made even more money than that, but just from ads, they made $224 billion. So you have two options. One is you can buy an ad. You can do that tomorrow. Pay Google tons of money, and then they will show you ad next to those keywords, right? So in this case, the two examples you used, Ben, are dentist near me and veneers 60616. So if I type in dentist near me, and you can specifically go to Google and say, in this radius, show my ad. That's one way. The second way is search engine optimization, which is you don't pay for ads, you show up organically. Now, the good and bad for both, right? The Google Ads, it's easy, anybody can do it. That's the good. The bad is it's 5 to 10 times more expensive. So in the long term, if you're going to be spending 5 to 10 times more year after year, month after month. The bad is, the good is it's easy. The bad is it's expensive, a lot more expensive. Now with SEO, it's the other way around. It's really, really hard. 5% of the websites get 95% of the free traffic through SEO. So 95% really don't even have this as an option. So if you're not in the top 5%, forget it. Google SEO is not going to work for you. The difference between SEO and Google Ads is the average person who comes from search engine optimization. So for example, you type in dentist near me and they see you organically, they will spend 90 seconds on your website. The average person who comes through ads will spend 15 seconds on your websites. I'm specifically talking about a Google ad. So the difference between 90 and 15 is 6. So you divide 90 by 15, you get 6. So you almost need 6 times as many people to equal one good quality SEO person. So you really have to spend a lot of money, which is where the money thing comes from. Also, you will have a lot of tire kickers because it was an ad, they don't trust you. So you're going to be talking to, let's say, 10 people and maybe 2 people might be interested and the other 8 don't show up for appointments. So, those kinds of challenges, right? So, so that's kind of the difference between SEO and ads. So I guess if I were to give you a goal, I'll answer your question directly. You said, if I'm the practice owner, what should my goal be? I would strongly recommend try to be in that 5% who is dominating Google SEO. And therefore, whatever I'm typing in my community, whatever the consumer is typing in my community, the practice, your practice shows up. You as the practice owner, your practice shows up in the top 3, at least the top 10 results. So that's the key. So make sure you dominate Google for every keyword related to dentistry. That would be the first thing I would aspire to. Of course, it's a tough game. So if you don't think you're going to win that game, don't even bother. But if you have a good strategy and a plan, then definitely set that as a goal and dominate Google and rank for every keyword. There's hundreds of them, but rank for all of those keywords near the top. Near the top 10 results of Google. So the top of Google.
Yeah, so on that part there, I appreciate you going through that. We'll post a link to, we did an episode on this a few weeks, well, maybe a couple months back, on how to dominate Google. So we'll post that in the show notes just in case somebody's curious on how they can go about engaging in that particular activity. That's a great episode that Naren shared some tips on that. So Naren, you're saying the first step is to dominate Google, show up on page 1, and then of course step 2 is people, they go to a landing page and I remember you in the past when you say that people ask 3 questions, and if you as the practice can answer those 3 questions really well on that particular landing page, then that results in patients calling the practice. Can you remind or refresh, or even those that may have not listened to that episode, what are those particular 3 questions that are important to answer on that landing page?
Yeah, absolutely. The 3 questions are, first question by far is, are you an expert? Remember I said people today want specialists, that special sushi place that does sushi a certain way, or that person who does, amazing kitchens. They want that specialist. So what's the number one thing about specialists? They are really good at that specific thing, right? So for example, veneers, if you are the specialist, the question they're asking is, hey, I'm going to spend $30,000 for veneers. Are you really good at it? Are you an expert at it? So that's the first question. Are you an expert? The second question is, do I like you? Now, this is a really, really important question because healthcare can be overwhelming to people, right? Like it's a lot of technical, language and, complex. And unless they are in the healthcare field, most of it they don't understand. So are you someone who can explain things in simple terms? Are you someone who is not kind of overwhelming or threatening, but rather easy to talk to, easy to understand? And in the old days, we made our decision once we met with the seller, or in this case, the doctor, but now we make our decision even before we pick up the phone, even before we go to the office. So what are you doing on your website to get people to kind of feel comfortable with you, feel like they can talk to you? So that's really the liking part. So are you helping them like you? Remember I said in 90 seconds, you have to do this if they come through SEO, and you have to do this in 15 seconds if they come through Google Ads. And the last step, so remember I said, are you an expert? Do I like you? And the last question they're asking is, do I trust you? This is important, right? Because the type of services we want to grow, the high value services, are expensive. I mean, thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars. So they don't want to give that money to you if they don't trust you, right? They have to trust you first. Same thing with healthcare being personal, right? I mean, it can be really, really important. I mean, I know people have headaches, and let's say you are a TMJ specialist that has been bugging this person forever. So before they go on a goose chase and try another doctor and have poor results, they want to make sure that they can trust you, that you are really good at, treating headaches, and you are the person who can finally make a difference in their life. So like you, trust you, and are you expert? Those are the three questions you have to answer really, really well, Ben, if you want people to, choose you as a practice owner.
Awesome. That was awesome, Naren. I have a question for you. So how do I, as a dental practice owner, help people to see me as an expert? That's a question that I've been thinking about. Like, how do you become an expert?
That's an excellent question, Jordan. Yeah, I know, and you have to do it quickly, right? The rules of the games are different. I mean, in the old days, you come and meet me, and you get to know me, and after talking to me for 30 minutes, I realize you're an expert. But today, you have to convince them you're an expert before they even step into your office. So, and you have to do it quickly. You have to do it in 90 seconds or less, because people are impatient online. So how do you do that? A classic way to do that, we'll include a sample. There's a doctor that we work with. His name is Dr. Hoyt, really smart dentist, very, very successful marketing-wise. And he has a veneers page, and I want to showcase that page. And the way he is convincing people he's an expert is he has these amazing cases. He has around 8 or 9 cases. And each case, there is a before picture, after picture, full face. There's also a teeth before and after picture. And there is a heading, and there is a write-up. So the write-up is, very specifically like, this is what happened, step by step in layman's terms. But the full face picture, that's the money shot. Like, I mean, when I look at that picture, I realize, of course, we'll include this in the show notes, that, he is an expert. Like, he is life-changing. Giving that $30,000 or $40,000 and getting that new smile is worth it. Remember, you're not just competing with other dentists. You are competing with that car that they wanted to buy, the patient wanted to buy, or that expensive vacation they wanted to take. So you have to show them pretty quickly in 90 seconds or less that it's a worthwhile investment. Now, of course, if there was only one before and after and one case, that's one thing. But when you have 9, it's a totally different game, right? Now, I start really believing you are an expert because you've done so many of them. And the other nuance I would like to highlight is have pictures of different people, different ages, male, female, skin color. Why? When you do that, the chances of me finding someone who looks like me goes up. Let's say I'm in my 40s. So I see somebody in their 40s, a man. I'm like, oh, this guy has this amazing smile. I want to be that 40-year-old.
Yeah, for me, it would be a bunch of just handsome men. That's what, yeah, right?
Exactly. Like
I'm teasing.
Yeah. So you want to.
That's what I relate with, anyways. So
because we see ourselves in those people, right? Those pictures. So when we see someone who's similar to us, who looks in our age, or then we feel like, oh, that's going to be me. That's going to be like, that's me. So it's a really, really powerful way to position yourself as an expert. We'll put that link so you can really see what I'm talking about, because pictures are worth 1,000 words.
Love
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah, so that's kind of tied to likability, right? How, and getting people to do the third thing there, which I think you said, Naren, is how do you get people to like you and the practice in what? How many seconds do they have to make that decision?
Yeah, if it's SEO, quick. It's 90 seconds. If it's Google Ads, it's 15 seconds.
Wow. So yeah, very short amount of time. What you make videos about yourself, introducing yourself? What do you do to get people to like?
Absolutely.
Make funny videos. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Stupid little skits online.
That's a good way to get people to like you, but most people are not very comfortable in like putting themselves out there and
Sure. Yeah.
fun of themselves. So what I would recommend is again the same page that we're going to be including as a link, Dr. Hoyt's veneers page. He has 2 simple videos. These are 60 seconds or less, number one. Number two, they are really easy to understand, right? And meaning like you don't need to have any knowledge about dentistry or healthcare for you to understand what he's saying. He talks in very, very, very simple language. And he also is answering 2 questions that people who are considering veneers are curious about, like the top 2 questions. The first one is, what happens when I show up? Like, tell me what the first visit is going to be like, because that's what they're worried about, because that's the first thing they're going to do, book an appointment. The second question he's answering is like, what happens throughout the process? Like, explain to me at a 10,000-foot level how this is going to work. So he says, okay, this is visit 1, this is visit 2, this is visit 3. And the end of visit 3, you have this beautiful smile. And of course, he explains it in very specific terms. Again, 60 seconds or less, simple language. Again, we'll include that link because, by watching that short video, you will understand how to get people to like you. Because remember, like I said, people are making decisions even before they pick up the phone and call. So you want to make sure as they go through that decision, as they think about, do I like this guy or this lady, they get the answer, absolutely yes. He's so easy to understand, or she's so easy to understand, and they decide to come to your office.
That's awesome. It usually takes me about 90 minutes to get somebody to like me. Doing that in 90 seconds sounds hard. So Naren, I mean, this information has been amazing, as with all the episodes that you share, marketing tips. So if I'm curious about how I'm doing on Google, or how I'm just doing in general on influencing people as they go through, people that are looking to shop in dentistry or become patients through that dental buyer's journey, what advice do you have for our listeners on where to start, or what resources are available for them out there?
Absolutely. I think you need to know where you stand, right? Like if you don't know where you stand, I mean, I went to a particular doctor, and one of the things he did is he ordered some tests. He wants to know what's going on, right? He needs to know where I stand before he can, make recommendations or suggest things for me to do and stuff, right? So that's step 1. So we are offering for anybody who's a fan of Insurance Untangled what we call the free marketing strategy meeting. It's the http:// or just www.insuranceuntangledcom/MSM. Well, we'll put a link to it, insuranceuntangledcom/MSM. Book that meeting. It's a $900 value. In that meeting, you will know where you stand. You will know where you stand when it comes to Google, and you will know where you stand when it comes to, dental buyer's journey. If you're killing it, if you're doing really well, then keep doing what you're doing. If not, we'll also give you a plan on what you need to do, or what we would do if we were to work on this problem over the next 12 months. So you kind of know, okay, here is where I stand, and here is a blueprint, a plan, and some goals for me to work on for the next 12 months. So that, I think, is a good place to start, because I know I'm giving you generic advice, I'm giving you best practices, but now it's time to make it very specific to you, right? I love to quote Gary on this. He says, knowledge without action is entertainment. And yeah, even though this is entertaining and we have fun, and hopefully you learn something from it, but I would recommend you take some steps, some action, find out where you stand, and then of course take that step to figure out what you do with the information you have. So insuranceuntangledcom MSM is our free gift and our resource for today, Ben.
Excellent. I love that quote. Knowledge without action is just entertainment.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, I felt like I was getting entertained quite a bit when I was going to classes and all that stuff.
Oh, you didn't drop out like I did twice.
Well, school learned me to think,
Nice.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, Naren, appreciate your advice. I mean, this whole world of marketing and understanding the dynamics on how to influence people throughout that whole journey is so impressive on how you explained that. So thank you so much. And Jordan as well. I know that your voice is recovering there, and appreciate you joining, sticking it out and joining me today and co-hosting. I also want to thank all of our guests. Thank you for joining us with another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share it with your friends. in social media or any other platform that you use. We also appreciate your reviews. Your reviews will help other doctors as well as other team members find us and our podcast that's dedicated to helping dental practices. So please write a review on your favorite podcast platform. And by the way, don't forget to visit InsuranceUntangled.com. That is our website to find the latest episodes as well as exclusive freebies for our listeners that listen to this episode and others in the future. Until next time, everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time.